Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So the previous week we were going through some of the additional ahkam, additional injunctions of wudu, such as a person may have a thick beard. So what are some of the rulings when it comes to washing the beard? What if a person has a thick beard to the extent that the skin is not visible? Then we reviewed that it's obligatory to wash the visible part of the beard. This is in the scenario if a person has a thick beard. And this is what the preponderant opinion is, that a person who has a thick beard, where the skin is not visible, then the outer part, the front part of the beard, that needs to be washed. It's not a requisite to wash the skin. It is not a requisite to ensure that water reaches the skin. So we went over, that was one injunction that we went through. The other is that if someone has a small beard or a thin beard where the skin is visible, then it's obligatory for water to reach the skin. It's obligatory for water to reach the skin. Also, it's not wajib, it's not obligatory that when a person closes their mouth, the inner portion of the lips, they don't need to be washed. Just the outer portion, when we close our mouth, whatever is visible out, then that is what is supposed to be washed. Also, it's not necessary for water to reach the hair that stretches from outside of the border of the face. So if someone has a thick beard and there are errant hairs, then it's not a requisite to wash those hairs. Also, if a person's fingers are together when performing wudu, meaning that they are closed, and that prevents water from flowing between them. It also stops, or if somebody has long nails, and that also prevents water from getting into underneath the nails, then the wudu would not be complete. It's obligatory that a person should make sure that water goes underneath the nails, as well as water should go through between the fingers. Also, substances such as insect droppings, the dung of fleas, things of that don't prevent water from reaching the skin. So if a person has this kind of stuff on the skin, insect droppings, dung of fleas, then this is not something that prevents water from getting through. Also, if a person is wearing a ring, and that ring is tight, it's wajib to move the ring. It is obligatory to move the ring so as to water getting into that area where the ring is worn. Also, we reviewed that if a person has cracks on their feet, and there's a possibility that if the person washes the feet, then it would cause harm, it would cause pain. It's permitted to pass water over the medicine if a person is using medicine. It's not a requisite to, and even if that's harmful, then just leave it all together. That part, leave it all together. If that's harmful, if there's a possibility of that area becoming infected. Also, if a person has done masa, which is one of the fard acts of wudu, after that he gets his head shaved, such as you would when you're in Umrah. Is the wudu still intact? Yes, it is. The wudu is still intact. Same thing with performing wudu if a person has long nails and then he cuts his nails. If a person cuts his nails, there's no need to repeat the wudu. Today, so these were some of the additional hukums, some of the additional injunctions related to wudu, for the wudu to be complete. Moving forward, and this is in no particular order over here, the author goes through the sunan of wudu. So يسن في الوضوء 18 شيئا. There are 18 practices, there are 18 things that are sunnah in wudu. Meaning that if a person does it, then this individual is receiving the full rewards of that wudu. If the person omits it, then it doesn't cause the wudu to become null or void, or the wudu to be incomplete in a sense that he cannot offer salah with that wudu. As long as the fara'id are being done, it's sufficient. It is sufficient. So moving forward, the author is saying that غسل اليدين إلى الرسغين. First things. So washing of the both hands up to the wrists. This is prior to performing the wudu. So the Prophet ﷺ mentions that when a person wakes up, then it's from the sunnah. This was from the sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ that he would, and in those days they didn't have faucets or anything, so they would have a basin, something along those lines, or a container, and they would take a little bit of water out and they would wash their hands up to the wrist 3 times. Yeah. So this is the first sunnah prior to initiating the wudu. The second is what tasmiyah ibtidan. Before initiating the wudu, it's from the sunnah. It is from the sunnah acts to begin with tasmiyah, to begin with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Obviously, this is for the purpose of barakah, and this is for the purpose of reminding ourselves that this wudu is also ibadat. This wudu is ibadah. This is a worship, and this worship will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will bring us closer to Allah azza wa jal. وَالسِّوَاكْ فِي ابْتِدَاهِ وَلَوْ بِالْإِصْبَعِ عِنْدَ فَقْدِهِ. So he's saying over here, the author is saying that also it is sunnah to use the miswak. It is sunnah to use the miswak, brushing the teeth with the toothstick at the beginning of wudu. And if a person is unable to find a toothstick, a miswak, then use the finger. Use the finger when the miswak is not available. This will fulfill the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions in hadith that لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل وضوء. That if I did not perceive it to be difficult upon my ummah, then I would have ordered them. I would have commanded them to do miswak during every single wudu. Every single wudu. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very high on hygiene. I've mentioned this before, that the hygiene of Muslims, this goes above the hygiene that you and I might see in a typical office, right? Or a typical office building or a government building or anything in a professional setting. So Islamic hygiene goes far beyond whatever hygiene we see outside. Islamic hygiene is it's on a whole different level. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would constantly be using the miswak to ensure that the breath would not change. So he would constantly be using miswak. And the best miswak to use is the olive tree. The olive tree miswak. It's bitter. It is very bitter. And it has cleansing properties. It has cleansing properties, the olive tree miswak. This is one of the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, وَالْمَضْمَضَةِ ثَلَاثًا وَلَوْ بِغَرْفَةٍ. So it's saying وَلَوْ بِغَرْفَةٍ. So it's saying وَالْمَضْمَضَةِ ثَلَاثًا وَلَوْ بِغَرْفَةٍ, and rinsing the mouth 3 times. This is also sunnah. If, for example, a person takes one handful of water and uses this one handful to gargle thrice, this will also suffice. This will also suffice. So you don't have to take water 3 separate times. 1 time is also enough, and just do 3. Take 3 mouthfuls of water from that 1 handful, and that will be sufficient in fulfilling the sunnah. وَالْإِسْتِنْشَاقِ بِثَلَاثِ غَرَفَاتٍ. Running water into the nostrils up to the soft area. This is also from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And meaning one is to use 3 new handfuls of water. So you can't use 1 handful, 3 new handfuls of water to clean the nose. وَالْمُبَالَغَةِ فِي الْمَضْمَضَةِ وَالْإِسْتِنْشَاقِ لِغَيْرِ الصَّائِمِ. It is also sunnah that we rinse the mouth and the nostrils. That we rinse the mouth and nostrils, and it is from the sunnah that we go a little bit beyond. So you know how people, they pull their head back a little bit and then they gargle? That is from the sunnah. Same thing with istinshaq. Same thing with cleaning the nose. That, make sure that it goes up to the soft area, not to the point where a person, starts choking on water, but at least up to the soft area, and clean the nose in that matter, except if a person is fasting. If a person is fasting, you don't want to gargle to that extent, to that degree. Same thing, you don't want to put, with the nose, you don't want to put the water too much past the soft area, the cartilage over here. Otherwise, that will invalidate. It will invalidate and it will make the fast void. وَتَخْلِيلُ اللِّحْيَةِ الْكَفَّ بِكَفِّ مَاءٍ مِنْ أَسْفَلِهَا. It's also sunnah to pass the fingers through the bottom of a thick beard. Right? So from here. So if a person has a thick beard, right, then it's from the sunnah, right, to go like this. Right? Either this way or this way. Right? Preferably with the right hand. So it could be either this way or this way. This is also from Rasulullah sunnah, that he would take a handful of water underneath, and he would take a handful of water and then kind of go underneath his throat. Right? And he ran his fingers through his beard. وَتَخْلِيلُ الْأَصَابِعِ. It's also sunnah to do takhleel. This is takhleel. So wiping between the fingers. Right? So as to make sure that water has gone through every single crevice. وَتَثْلِيسُ الْغَسْلِ. And it's also sunnah to wash the limbs 3 times. So every limb has to be washed 3 times. This is with the exception of certain things such as masa. According to the Hanafi school, masa is only once. According to the other school, it may be 3 times. But for us, it is only 1 time. وَإِسْتِعَابُ الرَّأْسِ بِالْمَسْحِ مَرَّةً. Wiping the entire head. This is sunnah. So according to us, according to the Hanafi school, the amount that covers the head with our hand, that's fard. More than that is sunnah. Right? To encompass the entire head, this is sunnah. وَإِسْتِعَانُ الرَّأْسِ بِالْمَسْحِ مَرَّةً. وَالْمَسْحُ أُذُنَيْنِ وَلَوْ بِمَاءِ رَأْسٍ وَلَوْ بِمَاءِ الرَّأْسِ. To wipe the ears, even if it is with the water used for the head. So when a person is doing masa, right, then also do masa of the ears, right, outer and then in or out. Yeah, both are fine. With dalk is rubbing. According to Imam Malik, rahimahullah, this is fard. According to Imam Malik, this is fard. So those who go to the Maghrib region, they will see the people over there vigorously rubbing, right, their limbs. So this is fard. According to us, rubbing the limbs, right, this is sunnah. This is from the sunnah. This is known as dalk. This is called dalk. Wal-wila. Number 13, washing the limbs one after the other. Right? Washing the limbs one after the other without pausing. So it's not like a person, washes the arms, right, takes a break, goes back, has a cup of tea, and then resumes washing. No, right? You have to wash successively. You have to wash in one whole routine. So it can't be that a person takes a pause and then goes on to the next limb after a while. So this is from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Although the wudu would be complete, but it's makruh to do that. It's repugnant to do that. One niyah, intention of wudu, this is sunnah. Right? Intention of wudu is sunnah. This is not in the case of the other schools. According to the Hanafi school, it is from the sunnah. Meaning that if a person, for example, goes swimming, right, and he dives into the water. According to the Hanafi school, the wudu is complete because every part has been washed. Everything has been washed. This is not the case with the other schools because according to them, niyat is fard. According to the Hanafi school, it is from the sunnah. وَالتَّرْتِيب كَمَا نَصَّ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى فِي كِتَابِهِ. Also following the order as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran. This is sunnah according to us, it is fard according to the other schools. So starting with the face, washing the face, washing the arms, the masa, and washing the feet. This is the tartib. This is the order that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has outlined in the Quran. To follow that order, it is from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, والبداء بالميامن ورؤوس الأصابع ومقدم الرأس. That this is 16 and 17. It's sunnah to begin with the right. When doing wudu, it's sunnah to begin with the right, washing the limbs. Meaning that if a person commences from the left, it's repugnant. The wudu is complete, but it's not a good thing to do that. It's disliked. وَرُؤُسِ الْأَصَابِعِ, and washing the tips of the fingers. Ru'us, the tips of the fingers, and also the toes. And with regards to the head, one should not wipe from the back to the front. Wipe from the front to the back. This was the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَسْحُ الرَّقَبَةِ لِلْحُلْقُومِ, and also doing masa of the nape, the back of the neck. Not the front, not the throat, but the back of the neck. وَقِيلَ إِنَّ الْأَرْبَعَ الْأَخِيرَ مُسْتَحَبَّةً. It has been said that the last four mentioned acts, meaning 15, 16, 17, and 18, so those are tartib, the order that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, starting with the left, initiating with the right, and washing the tips of the fingers and toes, and wiping the front part of the head. And sunnah, it is sunnah to wipe the neck and not the throat. These four are from the mustahabbat. They are recommended. It's desirable to do it, but it is not from the sunnah in the sense that if a person omits it for whatever reason, the wudu doesn't count, or the wudu is not considered. So this completes the sunnah of wudu. Inshallah, next week we will continue with the adab of wudu. Open the floor for questions. Any questions?
What about if you do wudu and then later on you shave and you have to do the wudu again?
No, you do not. Okay. Unless a person after shaving notices blood that is flowing, then yes. If it's flowing, then the wudu has to be repeated. But if it's just there, then the wudu does not have to be repeated. It's a requisite that the blood is flowing.
If the person is going away, or is it allowed? I don't know. But if the person is going away, take it out.
Yes. So he would have to wash. He would have to wipe over the head, not over the wig. Yeah. Unless that wig is stuck on or something along those lines. Then we have to look at it by case.
So for the washing the ear, meaning you wash the
Yeah, so you wipe the head.
Wipe the head.
Yes.
And then you bring out the hand and then you wash the ear.
Yeah, so you wipe the ears.
So other parts, once you remove the hand, you cannot put it back, right?
Putting the hand back.
For example, you want to wash your, you get water, you wash your hand, and then you remove your hand from this hand, and then you need a new water on top of that, right?
Not necessarily. It's mustahab to use new water, but it's not. As long as the water remains on the hand, that will suffice. Yes.
For the shower also, how does it look like? You have to do after shower or the shower when you make niyyah and do the shower?
Yeah. So when taking a shower, one will start obviously. The niyyah is there and everything, and then washing below the navel. Right. That area needs to be washed. And then one will perform the wudu, and then after performing the entire wudu, he will start by washing the entire body. And according to the Hanafi school, there are two additional fard, and that is gargling and putting water into the nose. These are also from the fard according to the Hanafi school. Yeah. In ghusl. So there's three fard according to us in ghusl. Water into the nose, gargling, water in the nose, and washing the entire body. These are the three fard in ghusl.
What's the difference, like ghusl and just a shower, like you just walk in and walk out? Shower.
So the ghusl, that will, when a person performs the ghusl, that will make the person pure from the greater impurity, such as nocturnal emission.
As far as the blood, the blood has to be dripping for the wudu to become like.
Yes, it has to be flowing. It doesn't necessarily have to drip, it has to flow, meaning that it has to move from one part to another. That is the definition of flow. That it starts in one area, and if a person doesn't dab it, then it's going to flow down. Right. So if it starts in one area and it flows from that area to another, then one would have to, yes, renew the wudu. Or wait until it stops.
Even if it is for a medical reason or something.
What would the medical reason be?
Like, many people are on blood thinners.
Yes.
Okay, with the heart condition.
Yes.
And when you are on blood thinners, many people they complain of this thing that they have the, like from the nose, they have not dripping, but whenever they touch the nose, they.
As long as it doesn't drip and it stays there, it's fine. As long as it doesn't drip. If it becomes a chronic issue, then we can issue a legal edict that would allow this person to fall within the ambit of someone who is ma'zur, someone who has a legitimate reason to perform wudu for one salat time, and use that wudu for all of the prayers, reading Quran, whatever wudu is required. So we would have to look at it case by case. A blanket ruling would be difficult.
Same thing about the people with severe hemorrhoids.
Yes, same thing. Same exact thing. Because this is also an issue, so we would have to look at it case by case. That is this something chronic? Is this something chronic? Is it difficult for this person to keep his or her wudu for 4 rakat salat? If the answer is yes, then that individual can perform wudu, and during that time, so for example, let's say from Dhuhr to Asr, this individual has this issue, he performs wudu. Now between Dhuhr to Asr, he is permitted to perform any ibadah that requires the wudu. Tawaf, Quran, holding the Quran, salat, anything that requires the wudu. If a person can maintain the wudu, then it's better to renew. He will have to renew every single time because there's that window where he can keep the wudu for quite some time. You would have to look at it case by case. But there is definitely concessions and dispensations that the Sharia allows. And this has been discussed in classical texts, thousands of years, where they have discussed chronic nosebleeds, they have discussed hemorrhoids, and they have issued rulings based on these special circumstances that people go through and might encounter.
So the blood has to flow?
Yes.
Or even if it's not flowing, but it's a possibility of flowing, which is sometimes you remove a scab and you immediately put something on it, and if you hold it, it will stop.
Okay.
So now, if you had not put something on it, it would have flowed, but you stopped it before it flowed.
If there's a possibility that it would have flowed if you had not stopped it, then better to renew the wudu. Yeah.
Like, the people with the diabetes, when they check their blood sugar.
Yes.
Yes, sometimes.
So there might be some concession over there, because when a person pricks their finger and then squeezes that, so within the Hanafi school, there is an opinion, albeit a weak opinion, but an opinion nonetheless, because a diabetic person has to go through this quite often. So this might be a genuine haraj. This might be a genuine need for this person to maintain their wudu. So there's dam kharij, right? So blood that comes out of its own volition, and dam mukhraj, blood that is drawn. So this would be blood that is drawn. You're squeezing the blood out. So the Hanafis, they mention that blood that is squeezed out, this will not render the wudu null. The wudu will still be maintained. It's a weak opinion, but this opinion can be applied for those who are diabetic. For those who are diabetic, because they have to do this constantly throughout the entire day. It might be difficult.
Thank you.